I'm Camille Jacominich. I'm the owner of Ezential Yoga. What I do is live one-on-one sessions with people through either Skype or FaceTime. And what we do is we'll go through a normal yoga session, and I will actually go and talk to you through the different exercises that we do. I'll work on your form. What my background is I've been a yoga instructor for about a year. I've done yoga as a client or a student for over a decade. Going through hot yoga, Bikram, Ashtanga, regular Vinyasa, power, Yin, and I did some aerial yoga, which was a lot of fun. And so what I wanted to do was actually teach. And so I became certified, and I was working with a partner on a virtual workout system, and then I formed my own company in September last year. I have 20 years experience as a physical therapy assistant. I've worked in outpatient and I've worked in long-term care and as well as rehab. So I do have a good understanding of how your body mechanics should be, and I pretty good at cueing how you can correct that. Even though I'm not there in person, I can see you and correct any pose that's going on. So I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm so excited to be a part of the Shot of Yoga group, and I'm a subscriber myself. I got my first box and I loved it. I love anything that goes with the mind-body connection. I like having a yoga community, and yoga is definitely a huge community. Why I started the company that I do is that I wanted to have yoga accessible for everyone. Doesn't matter about your age, doesn't matter about your flexibility, doesn't matter about your experience. You could be a beginner to advanced. And I just wanted to make it as accessible to everyone and any type of body that you can. So when I say essential yoga is for any body, it means for any body. I have chair yoga, so I have older clients that maybe they don't have a lot of balance, so they can't do a tree. So you get a chair and you can use that as a modification. I'm definitely big on modifications. So if you're not able to get into a pose, we can use props. We can use any kind of modification that would make that yoga more comfortable for you. So speaking of yoga, I figure I would introduce a little sun salutation. This is more like the basic sun salutation that you see in a lot of Vinyasa classes, beginner roots class. And I'll go through, and then we'll work on a modification and how do you get a proper form in each pose. So here we go. Okay, first off, you stand, feet together. If you need a little bit of more balance, you could be about hip width apart. You start off and you come up, hands come up overhead. And then we come down, swan dive down. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see. Then you come up, slide your hands up to your shins, flat back, looking out. You can bend your knees to get your hands to the floor. You're going to walk back to a plank. If your wrists bother you in this position, you can cupcake your hands so you're using your fingertips, really spread them out wide. Usually how I start out, knees come down. You're going to try to aim to get your chest between your hands. So you come down and you push up. This is upward facing dog. Eventually you move towards lifting off of your toes so that your legs are not on the floor. And then you tuck your toes and come back to downward facing dog. Usually I cue with, you want to put your ears between your biceps. So you really don't want to push here and you don't want to come out here. Really try to effort to have your ears between your biceps. And you want to try to lift your hips up. And eventually, if your heels aren't touching the floor, that's okay. Some people have really tight hamstrings, and that's all right. You can see my heels are not hitting yet. And then what we do from downward facing dog, you're going to walk your hands up or walk your feet up to your hands. You're in a forward fold. And then we're going to slide our hands up to our shins, come back down, and then reverse swan dive all the way up. And then bring your hands to heart center. Okay, so let me go this way this time. Okay, so now we're going to come up and swan dive all the way down. Once again, if this is uncomfortable, you can bend your knees. Bend your knees as much as you need to. And then you're going to walk back to a plank. Lower your knees. Lower your chest between your hands so your elbows are going to be hugging your rib cage. Push up to upward facing dog. Then tuck your toes, come back to downward facing dog. This time, right foot comes in between your hands. You're going to bring that left knee down, tuck the toes, and you're going to come up to a lunge. You can make it as deep as you want to. If you're comfortable here, that's fine. If you can't reach your arms up, you can do goalposts. You can do hands at heart center. Then come down, surround your feet, tuck the back toe, come back to downward facing dog. Pedal your feet out. Then you're going to bring your left foot between your hands. Now, if you come here and you only get it part way, help it out with your hands. So you're in a runner's lunge. You can bring down the right knee. And then you're in your kneeling lunge again. Now you don't absolutely need to look up. You're hyperextending your neck. You can keep it neutral. Bring your hands to surround your feet. Tuck your back toes. Come back in the downward facing dog. Usually you do about 3 to 5 breaths here. Walk your toes up to your hands. You're in a forward fold. Then we're going to reverse swan dive all the way up. Bring your hands to heart center. And then your hands come down. So that's our sun salutation. Usually that's a beginner, the beginning sequence, and then you go into warrior poses, and I like to do a lot of balance poses. So each week I'll be coming to you Tuesday and Thursday around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you miss it, you can always watch the replay. What I'll do on Tuesdays is introduce a pose, usually a handful of poses, and then on Thursday, what I'll do is I'll show you how they flow together. So that way you get an idea of, they're not just chunked poses out. You can put them all together. The reason I love yoga is because it's very graceful. It's almost like ballet, which is beautiful. So Thursdays will be the flow together. Tuesdays will be the introduction of different poses. If you ever have any questions, I really want to try to do this pose, I can help you do some prep. I'll answer any questions you have. I'm very open. And I really appreciate you taking the time. I'm very excited about this partnership with Shada Yoga, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.